Hi everyone, thanks so much for logging back onto our Facebook Live. I am Mercedes Sanchez from bechicmag.com, and while you all start to log in, I am going to just make sure I can see your comments over here on my little phone. Okay, great, here we are. And I have to also mention, if you are watching this video even after we log off, later on today or even tomorrow, feel free to leave your comments and questions because I always go back and respond to all the questions. So don't forget to do that. And today we're talking about different tips and ideas about how you can keep your blowout looking fresh for days and days without having to wash your hair right away. And I'll be mentioning some tips and some products and also items that I use, for example, like the curl pin. And I'm sure some of you have seen me looking crazy. When I come out of the blowout, I'm either on Snapchat or Instagram stories, and I post the pictures here on how I look with this on. Hey, Rainy, how are you? Thanks so much for logging on. So definitely curl pins are part of my to-do when I want my hair to look great for days and days. A dry shampoo. Of course, we have a brush. And also we have the satin bonnet, which is very important, and I'll show you why and how. So, all right, so let's get started. So while shampoos that contain oil are great if you have a dry scalp, for example, it really can lead to obviously greasier hair. But yes, of course, oily shampoo can make your hair look more shiny. You can moisturize it. But if you are prone to have oily scalp, definitely try to stay away from oily shampoos. And my second tip is don't wash your hair every single day. Your hair already produces its own natural oils, and if it feels and it knows that you're washing it all the time, it's going to even produce more oil because you are getting rid of its natural oil. So you might be thinking you're doing it a service, but then it actually produces more oil. So don't wash your hair every single day. I mentioned it earlier, I could deal 3 to 4 days without washing my hair. So let's see. My second tip is, for my third tip, I think I already mentioned 2 or 3 tips there. If you're on your 3rd or 4th day of not washing your hair, use a dry shampoo. Hey, thanks for logging on. Do you guys use a dry shampoo? One of my favorites right now, and I have to say that I actually partnered with Dove today for this video to show you their new Dove and Refresh and Care. It's actually the Dove Refresh and Care Volume and Fullness Dry Shampoo right over here. And I love it because it has a weightless formula that cleans by absorbing oil to help hair stay fresh between regular washes. And it's super easy to use. You just shake it before you apply it, and you shake it some more. And it's really important to stay a few inches away from your roots. So for example, 8 to 12 inches is the best. And that's where most of your oil is built up in your roots. So I'll show you. And it's great too because it gives lifeless hair a bouncy flow, and it leaves behind a freshly washed scent. It smells fantastic. And then the idea is after you sprayed it onto your roots, you would massage it in just like this. And then just kind of brush it out afterwards. And that's it. And I love this one in particular because it is the Dove Refresh and Care Volume and Fullness Dry Shampoo. It obviously gives you a little bit more volume. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. And if anyone wants to know if you can use it for color treated hair, absolutely. It's for any color hair, and it's also for any type of hair. And you can buy it in Walmart, CVS, and Target. And it costs about $4 or so. So also, I also mentioned to you that I use my curl pins. And today, I will be doing a demonstration. Some of you always ask me, hey, a ti no te da vergüenza, you're not embarrassed to show your pictures when you come out of the beauty parlor with your curl pins? Nope, my friends, no me da vergüenza. gonna come out of there. Do you guys do that? I know some people would never be caught doing such a thing. This is how I do it. I usually pass the curling iron over it. When I go to the beauty parlor and I get a blowout, I always ask them, please pass the curling iron before I leave the beauty parlor. Pass the curling iron because the heat actually helps the curls maintain longer. But when I do my hair at home, I do it here as well. This is what I do. This is how I curl it. I'm not a professional. And then los dominicanos lo llaman las anchoitas, right? Yo no sé cómo hacerlo muy bien. I'm not too sure how to do it, but I'm going to try. I mean, I do it all the time here in my house, but it doesn't come out too great. Anyway, this is one example. I should definitely be looking at the mirror instead of looking at the phone. So that's not going to work. Anyway, so this is one idea. Whenever I do TV segments and I either don't have time or I don't want to spend money by going to the beauty parlor, I would do the anchoitas myself here at home. So I'm going to just do one or two to give you an idea. Okay, esta está saliendo un poquito rara. Anyway, that's one idea. I'm going to leave the bangs alone. What I usually do with the bangs is that I blow it out and I don't really curl it up because I don't want these to be super curled. There you go. And I can do this either right after a blowout, and the reason I do that is because the texture will last so much longer without me having to wash my hair again for days, or even having to put the curling iron on my hair for days. And then let's say I want to be able to do this again even days after the fourth or third day. That's when I would use the Dove Refreshing Care Volume and Fullness Dry Shampoo again. And you would think that a dry shampoo, all it does is make your hair smell nice, but it actually gives it some bounce, especially this one, because it's all about that. It gives you volume and fullness. Okay, so now you guys get the idea. More or less. Anyway, so you get the idea. I would put the anchoitas or the curl pins all throughout my hair. And then right before I go to bed, I will put the satin bonnet on it. And this has a lot of benefits. And this is one thing, okay, I am capable of going outside and with my anchoitas, I'm not embarrassed of that, of the curl pins, but I wouldn't go out with the satin bonnet, just so you guys know that. So I will put it on, and I'm ready for bed. And it has many benefits, and I forget what they are, but the reason I put it on is because it helps prevent frizz. And it also keeps my curl pins in place for days and days. So this is another way that I can have my blowout last a much longer time. So that's pretty much it. This is pretty much it for today. Do you guys have any questions? I see Angelina, I see Mayrani, and Eno. Do you guys ever do curl pins or anchoitas in your house? Please let me know. And so these curl pins, I buy them in any store. I would love to. I actually went one time to Washington Heights to buy a whole bunch of different beauty supplies. and they have a lot of stores up there, but the Lower East Side has some too. But you can also find these in any part of the country. Obviously, you can Duane Reade or Walgreens or Target. You can find curl pins anywhere. And then the idea is that I would sleep with this on. Okay, Marini's asking, what kind of cap is that? So it's a satin bonnet. I actually bought this in a local drugstore. So the satin is supposed to help prevent frizz and also lock in moisture, because when you sleep on a pillowcase all the time, that affects not only just your skin but also your hair. So it really keeps in the moisture in lock and also helps with preventing frizz. I always sleep with this on, especially before a TV segment or at a special event. I'm always with it. And I think it cost me like less than $12. So yeah, so this is the curl pins. Now we'll be taking it down. So how often do you guys wash your hair? Like I said, washing your hair daily really does the opposite of what you're trying to do. If you're trying to make sure your hair doesn't get oily, you're actually removing the hair's natural oils, and then your hair or your head is going to produce more oil because you're getting rid of it. So it really defeats the purpose. So try not to wash your hair every single day. So, and I always pass the curling iron again, guys, right before I put the curl pins in, because the heat will lock in the curls and it gives me that texture, and my blowout will last so much longer, even a whole week. And then to just wrap things up, to remind you that on my third or fourth day, I usually try to go for a dry shampoo to freshen up my hair. And I'm using this one right here, the Dove Refresh and Care Volume and Fullness Dry Shampoo. It's weightless, it absorbs the oil really well, and it helps maintain your hair fresh between washes. And I'm not sure if you can see, it also gives you some bounce. Definitely a bouncy flow with the volume that it provides. There we go. You see? And again, the dry shampoo is great for, a lot of us color our hair in the winter time, also in the springtime. With the changing seasons, we like to color our hair, and the dry shampoo is fantastic for any color hair and any type of hair. So this is it. These are my tips. This is exactly what I do to make sure my blowout lasts days and days after leaving the beauty parlor. So if you have any questions or even some suggestions as to how you maintain your blowout, let me know. I always love to learn from you and interact with you. And I will be posting everything that I showed you here and my tutorial over at bchicmag.com with pictures, more of the Dove Refresh and Care Volume and Fullness Dry Shampoo. Again, we partner with Dove today to present to you this video and these tips. And I thank you all for watching. Again, I am Mercedes from bchicmag.com. See you later.